Hello and welcome back to the Fruit of Grisaia, Sachi's route. In the last episode, the school summer vacation was finally ending, and the test that was announced by Principal Tachibana was arriving without Sachi having fulfilled Michiru's request to get rid of the test. Sachi tried her method that had worked once before, namely pouring kerosene out into the halls of the school and trying to igniting it. She had even gone to the trouble of turning off the sprinklers and the fire alarms, just in case. However, the sprinklers somehow turned on again when she started the fire, causing her fire to be doused and her to be confused and sad. As it turns out, Yuuji was the one who had turned the sprinklers back on again after Sachi had gone and turned them off. And Yuuji was also the one who had been drilling holes into the pillars of the school's building at night. Obviously, that was what Michiru had seen, but because of Michiru's crazy, rather far-fetched explanation, no one really believed him. Really believed her that it was some kind of person. Rather, in fact, the topic was glossed over with that it was perhaps a ghost. Though Sakagi probably knew what was going on. Yuuji then asked Sachi that if she really wanted the school gone. And Sachi said yes. And Yuuji took Sachi up into a nearby hill and told Sachi to press a button on a homemade detonator. As it turns out, Yuuji had been placing plastic explosives within the pillars of the building, and as soon as Sachi hit the button, the entire building exploded and collapsed. The other students were safe, of course, as Yuuji had made sure to give them a convenient helicopter ride at the time of the explosion, so that no one got hurt. Sachi then looked at the building and asked if she had now been a good girl, which was her mission all along. And Yuuji said, "What do you feel?" And Sachi, to her own surprise, didn't feel like she had done the right thing. And then Yuuji reminded her of all the happy memories that she had had with Mihama Academy, the school that she has now destroyed. A school that she had spent a whole year of her life in. A school where she had been happy, carrying out requests and studying, which was made to make her feel good. However, now the school is gone, and we shall see how things are going. So let's continue. Human warmth just might be the one and only drug God permits us. Or so I thought the first time I slept with a woman. The welcoming softness of their skin, the just right heat of their bodies, is enough to make your brain melt out your ears. When you've got something like that lying in your arms, it's only natural that you'd want to hold on to it forever. But unfortunately, only monkeys get to spend their lives immersing themselves in physical pleasure, and I happen to be a higher primary with other things to worry about. Specifically, the stunt I just pulled on behalf of the girl I fell in love with. I destroyed Mihama Academy, knowing full well how much trouble it would cause. I've got to accept reality and own up to my actions. First and foremost, to the 4 girls who were so concerned for Sachi. Sachi! The instant we enter the dorm and announce our arrival, Michiru pounces like a twin-tailed tiger, wrapping both arms around Sachi. Please contain your lust, Michiru-sama. As I've said on numerous occasions, my sexual orientation. Do you really have to play dumb at a time like this? I'm just happy to see you safe and sound, you idiot. Safe and sound? Me? Yeah, what Jiru said. We're flying through the sky and everything, and then it went boom, you know? We're crazy worried. Flying through the sky and it went boom? I suppose you might not have been aware, Kamina-san. The 4 of us were taking a helicopter ride at the moment of the school's destruction. I see. So the safe place you can refer to was the sky. Pretty Pounding little tour, right? Just about right for the last night of summer vacation. Yes, the absolute worst night view I've ever been subjected to. Sakagi's words are sardonic and accusatory, but the look on her face is surprisingly gentle. I don't get the impression she's actually angry. Well, yeah, nice to see you two alive and all. But we're going to need a really good explanation for this, okay? In contrast, Amane marches right up and grabs me by the shoulder, resembling nothing so much as an ogre who woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Sure, what do you want me to explain? Are you seriously trying to play dumb? Explain why our school was just destroyed, smartass. You haven't any idea how it felt running back home to find the school building a pile of rubble and a maze of dorms still standing. Oh, right, that. Are you for real? Well, what's to explain? We just got rid of that test, as requested. Just? You got a lot of nerve. I don't remember anyone asking you to get rid of the whole damn school. We're having a nice time flying around looking at the view, and all of a sudden our school starts crumbling before our eyes. We practically had a collective heart attack up there, you know? Yuuji, for example, was all... Community and Katamikuna down there! Let me off already! Threw a total tantrum at the poor old pile, dude, you know? Well, anyone would be a little flustered to see something like that. That's right, and if we would have been in the dorm with shock like that, we'd been white-haired beauties by now. Sounds like a net positive, but in any case, that's the exact reason I made sure you were all safe in the sky. Ah, makes sense. Okay, that's really not what I was asking. I want to know why you destroyed the school. Well, as for that, I'll explain everything. Interrupting mid-sentence, Sachi takes a determined step forward. You will, Sachin? Yes, you see, our acceptance of this request and the specific solution of demolishing the school. All of this was instigated by Yukon for my benefit. And so she explains clearly and frankly, starting at the very beginning. The advice I gave her, the feelings I conveyed to her, the trauma of her past and the struggles she's undergone ever since. She doesn't hold back a thing. She doesn't flinch or hesitate. Therefore, this incident is entirely my responsibility. I know you cared for the school no less than I, and because of my short-sightedness, it was destroyed. I am truly sorry. There's a reason everyone here avoids talking about the past. We all vaguely understand that it can't be a pleasant topic for anyone in a place like this. Sachi, of course, is no exception. Talking about this can't be easy for her, but even so, she lays everything bare in front of her friends, then bows her head in sincere apology. Our classmates, still half in shock over the abrupt demolition of their school, now have Sachi's complicated and unhappy life story to contend with as well. Finally understanding how their friend became the obedient maid they've joked about all this time, the four girls sink into an awkward silence. Well, that's the way Sachi sees it, but the fact is, I'm the one who decided to blow up the school. I knew it was going to cause you trouble, but I did it anyway, and for what it's worth, I'm really sorry. Following Sachi's example, I lower my head in apology. Yukon? It's kind of hard to say anything when you both apologize so earnestly. Well, I more or less figured it was something along those lines. So basically, Sachi doesn't have anything to have to do anything she's told from now on, right? In that case, it's something to celebrate. I only care about Sachi and Oni-chan coming back safe in the first place, you know? You're all very kind. Sachi must have been genuinely prepared for anger or rejection. When she received warm words instead, tears welled up in the corner of her eyes. Now that she's finally realized just how important these people are to her, their acceptance must feel incredibly good. I think I owe you an apology in particular, Sakaki. Well, now I understand that spontaneous expression of remorse earlier. Yeah, I know it's not enough just to say this, but I really am sorry. You don't particularly need to be. What? I have absolutely no idea how you managed to persuade my father, but even with our school abruptly destroyed, he left me entirely alone. Not so much as a phone call. I suppose that's just how little he cares about this place, and the daughter he's keeping here. Not that I'm complaining. Even so. In any case, I doubt it'll take him long to prepare another birdcage. I'm aware that Sakagi and her father don't exactly get along, but we're talking about a large, modern building with top-of-the-line facilities and equipment. The initial construction cost alone would be well into the billions of yen. Dismissing something like that as a birdcage suggests she's still got a bit of the East Beach Group CEO's daughter in her, whether she likes it or not.
Hey Yumi-chan, you can play it cool like that if you want, but think about it. You got a golden chance here, you know? Why not demand a little apology fun time?
What? Don't be ridiculous.
Maki-chan?
Well, judging from how quickly things return to normal, I guess learning Sachi's past isn't going to make them awkwardly self-conscious around her. Okay, but I have to say, if things were heading in this direction, you could have at least talked to us first.
Let's say I did. Would you have agreed to go along with this plan? More importantly, getting this done required some dicey maneuvering. If things had ended badly, your knowledge of the plan would have become a serious liability for you.
Wait, hold on a second. Does that mean you two are wanted criminals now?
I think there'd be a lot more of a fuss, like police crawling all over the place for one thing.
Right.
Like Amanda says, there's only a few cops standing outside the gate and no media presence whatsoever. I've noticed a few curious locals passing by to gawk at the rubble, but that's about it.
So then...
Sorry to disappoint. Doesn't look like we'll be doing any time for this one.
Ha! Jeez, don't start me like that.
Knowing you, I assume there were measures in place to ensure such an outcome.
I did what I could, but things could have played out differently. It came down to your father.
I see.
You see? Seriously? I don't see a freaking thing, personally. What kind of explanation is that?
Well, I'm not as completely lost as Michiru, but there's definitely a lot of things I don't quite understand about this. For one thing, why isn't there a crowd of people outside? Everybody has to have noticed an explosion like that. Allow me to explain. Principal Tachibana?
Chizuru, you already done out there?
Yes, thanks to you and Herrera-san, there really wasn't much for me to do.
I see.
Seems the dice really did fall pretty nicely this time. Almost freakishly so. Wait, so you knew Yuuji was going to blow up the school, Principal Tachibana? Yes, of course, the blood drained from my face when he brought me the idea, but Kasami-kun was very adamant and made a persuasive argument that this would help Kamina-san in a way nothing else could.
In other words, a hot young man looked into your eyes and begged so you folded like a house of cards.
That's absolutely not true. As an educator, I gave my cooperation entirely out of concern for my students' future, and leaving that aside, even if you knew of his plan, I find it rather odd that you are so calm. Well, I don't have any reason to panic. The matter in question took place with the full consent of the society at large. The consent of society? Sorry, what does that mean? It means exactly what it sounds like. The destruction of our school building was a lawfully performed demolition. We even notified the neighborhood beforehand. Accepting a flyer from Principal Tachibana's outstretched hand, a puzzled Michiru begins to read its contents out loud.
Let's see here. Message to the Mishima Cape community. As part of our planned renovation and construction of a new facilities, Mihama Academy's main school building will be demolished by a controlled implosion.
What? Wait, I didn't hear a thing about this.
The demolition is scheduled to take place on August 31, 2011. What the heck is this?
Well, it's exactly what it looks like. I made two specific requests of Chizuru. First and most important, I needed her to provide me with detailed blueprints of the school in order to ensure efficient, reliable demolition and prevent any collateral damage to the dormitory that has become our home. And secondly, I asked her to provide an advance warning and follow up with the Mishima Cape community. As Chizuru is both the principal of our school and the well-connected daughter of the prefectural governor, she was uniquely suited to play that role. In other words, the destruction of our school was unannounced beforehand, and we simply carried it out according to schedule, nothing to warrant that much attention. So that's why everyone in the shopping district would be all sympathetic. Most likely, yes. Even so, the complete lack of television crews and newspaper photographers strikes me as rather odd. Yes, I'm not fully aware of the details myself, but it seems a gag order was issued. A gag order? Why on earth? You have heard of this before, Sakaki-san, but after a certain demolition went wrong in 1992, virtually no large-scale building implosions of this sort have been performed in Japan. Even the demolition of a single school might well have become politically sensitive news. In any case, there would have been disproportionate media presence. Apparently, our country found this prospect unpleasant enough to formally silence the press.
What?
Why are you so surprised? I assume you and Haradera-san instigated that in the first place.
Yeah, that we did.
Figured as much. I knew you two would take some sort of action on that front, but you've certainly exceeded my expectations.
At the country? Seriously? You people are unbelievable.
I mean, I've always had the feeling Yuuji's out of the ordinary in a different way from the rest of us, but seriously? Who are you?
What? Again with this? Name, Kazumi Yuuji, occupation student, currently attending Mihama Academy. We've been introduced, haven't we?
Oh, please, you're not really fooling anyone at this point. Well, I guess the total non-answer means you can't explain. I'll leave it alone.
Just what I'd expect from a discreet young lady like yourself. Now, Arnim, you're a damn good woman.
Hearing that from the guy who chose another woman doesn't do much for me. I do apologize. No, please don't. You're just rubbing salt in the wound.
Forget that stuff. Shouldn't you be taking a bath right now? Your clothes are a mess, you know?
Michiru reaches down and sweeps a lingering clumps of grass from Sachi's skirt. Come to think of it, I suppose you're right. Nothing seems to have been damaged. The ground bath should be working fine.
While you're at it, why not bring Oni-chan along?
Maki-chan seems to have a hard set on this, so I suppose there's nothing for it. Let's bathe together, Yukon.
Using her babbling as an excuse? You're a shameless woman.
Ow! Your defenses are as tight as always, Yukon. As the principal of this academy, I will not allow this dormitory to become a den of debauchery. Take your bath separately, please. Is this jealousy, perhaps? No, it is not. It is an exercise of my moral responsibility as an educator. What a disappointment. In any case, once you two have finished your bath, please have everyone gather here again. Once we've all calmed down a little, I'd like to explain the details regarding our temporary school facilities.
Temporary school facilities?
Well, of course, we may not have a building at the moment, but we can't exactly stop learning now, can we? Just so you know, I put in quite a bit of effort to ensure we could begin classes right away.
I kinda wish you hadn't.
That sort of attitude is exactly why cancelling lessons is not an option.
Yes, ma'am.
Alright then, let's wrap this up for the moment. If you don't mind, I've got a question first. What would that be, Sakaki-san? Are you planning to hold that standardized test as scheduled? The instant the question leaves Sakaki's lips, Sachi's expression grows visibly serious. This entire plan was carried out on the pretext of getting rid of that test. I guess it's only natural that the outcome would be a point of interest for everyone in this room. Well, I'd like to ask Kamina-san first. You're asking me? That's right, Kamina-san, do you still feel the need to prevent that achievement test from taking place? Well, Halfway through a tentative sentence, Sachi closes her eyes and falls silent to think over the question more carefully. We watch and wait in tense silence for the result of her deliberations. No, I do not. Everyone's going to be taking the test, yes? It seems to me we should participate as well. Are you absolutely sure about that? I got the impression Chizuru had been expecting this answer, but she gently asked for confirmation anyway. Yes, I'll work hard, get an excellent score on the test, and then have Yukon praise me. And Sachi's shamelessly cheerful response, delivered with a big smile on her face, takes even me by surprise. What? Wow, she's brazen all of a sudden. I'm too stunned to be pissed off.
You're kinda cool, Sachin.
So we're back to the bragging, huh? Yes, congratulations on your boyfriend. Just a few hours ago, the girl had been willing to do anything and everything to get rid of that test. Up to and including something as dramatic as destroying her own school. So, understandably enough, everyone was startled by her overwhelmingly bright and positive answer. But it was an undeniable proof that Sachi was no longer trapped by the skewed system of values she'd clung to for so long. Maybe that cheerful smile was a little audacious after all, but nobody was about to criticize her for it. Once Chizuru let us know that the standardized test would in fact be conducted in a few days later than originally scheduled, we brought the gathering to a temporary conclusion. And after watching Sachi head off for a well-deserved bath, I pull out one of my cell phones and make a call. Hello, that's you, Yuuji? After a single ring and a little electronic static, I hear the usual voice on the other end of the line.
Hey JB, I've got a question I need to ask you. In person.
Isn't that a coincidence? There's something I want to discuss with you as well.
How convenient. Unfortunately, we got some onlookers hanging around the usual place. Would you mind heading somewhere else? I'll send you the address.
No, that shouldn't be a problem. Our concise little conversation concluded, I immediately prepared to head out. About 10 minutes after I reached the place I specified, a comically conspicuous yellow sports car arrives at the scene. Here I am. Naturally, it isn't long before a certain splendidly shaggy-headed blonde emerges.
That didn't take long. Not that it ever does with you.
As an accessory to the crime, I decided I should be around to watch the final moments of that poor school.
Yeah, sure. Maybe you're just watching me constantly through a high-powered telescope.
I assume you know that we don't have quite that much time on our hands.
You have enough time to bitch about nagging bosses with your co-workers, don't you?
I'm going to leave now.
Sorry, just a joke.
Well, I assume this question of yours has something to do with this incident.
Yeah. From what Chizuru tells me, Kazumi dropped a gag order on this.
That's right, the local and regional government, the news bureaus, the newspapers, magazines, you name it, they're muzzled.
I see.
At first glance, that strikes me as an almost disproportionate level of legal force. It must have taken some serious groundwork, money and political authority to get such a wide-scale order in place.
Sorry, I think I must be missing something here. Mind if I work through this from the top? Our school's owned and administered by the Sakagi Academy Educational Corporation, one small arm of the corporate octopus Sakagi's father controls. But from what you found, the school wasn't actually built by East Beach Construction, the architectural branch. Instead, Sakagi quietly brought in a second biggest player in the field, Nishisono Construction, right so far?
On paper, Nishisono is a rival enterprise, but the East Beach Group's most ruthless competitor. But it seems they're actually fairly friendly, to the point of passing each other work under the table. Long story short, they've been in collusion for many years. Through systematic inflation of the building cost, both were able to pocket a very nice cut of our generous government's construction subsidies.
And you were planning to use that knowledge as a shield for my otherwise unthinkable bit of demolition work.
Informing both parties of the existence of the incriminatory data, we used it as a pretext for demolishing Mihama Academy. And as for the relevant societal authorities, we quietly submitted an application to bring down the building as part of a private renovation plan.
Right, so this is where it stops making sense. It's one thing for East Beach or Nishisono to throw away some money around to keep the press off the scent, but if we're talking about a gag order from Kazumi Kaseki, then
I suppose the general will of the Japanese people must have determined keeping this matter quiet was in its own best interest. JB interrupts in a cold, flat tone of voice. Her expression has changed to match. It's the face of a superior giving orders to a subordinate in the workplace.
From the sound of things, I'm going to guess you know the exact reason that decision was made.
Yes, I do, but I'm afraid it's information you don't have the right to know.
I see. Understood.
You're giving up fairly easy considering you dragged me out here just to ask that question.
Well, you just gave me pretty much the entire answer. As much as I need to know, anyway.
Apparently satisfied that I'm not going to press the matter further, JB lets the intimidating scowl drop off her face. Well then, that's more than enough of that, I think. And with a casual flip of her voluminous blonde hair, she's right back to normal.
Wasn't expecting you to move on so easily yourself.
If you're not going to ask again, there's no need for me to stay on my guard. Judging by her attitude, JB's not really interested in the conclusions after all. She just wants to make it clear that I need to keep them to myself. Also, as for Ichigai's disposition on this incident, Officially, we have absolutely no knowledge of 1929 playing any role in this affair. You are to stand by on active reserve status, just as before.
Affirmative.
You're really well behaved tonight. Knowing you, I was expecting a little more yapping.
I don't see the problem. Even if I don't know the exact details, it seems that Ichigaya and I happen to have a common interest on this one. Come to think of it, it wouldn't surprise me if your cooperation with this plan was authorized by someone upstairs.
Well, I'll give you full marks for getting that close. With an almost amused smile, JP turns smoothly on her heel and heads for her car. Alright, I'll give you a call next time a job comes up. Get some rest for the moment, why don't you? I'm willing to bet you barely slept while preparing that implosion of yours.
Right back at you. Make sure you're getting your beauty sleep, alright? Your skin's going to turn into a mess at this rate.
Thanks so much for the advice, dear. A tone taking a distinct turn for the sour, JB slips into her car, then vanishes obnoxiously into the night. The details aren't clear to me, but apparently the country doesn't think too highly of what East Beach has been getting up to lately. And I guess someone probably decided they could use my plan to wreck Sakage's pet project as something of a warning shot across his bow. I'd gone into this fully prepared to be called for messing around with a major player, but my luck seemed to have been astoundingly good. A pet dog tries to bite his owner, only to have them protect him from the potential consequences. I guess it's not a completely unheard of outcome, given their valuable enough mud. But even if some influential element in Ichigaya and Kazuma-Gaseki were on board with this, it's hard to understand how such a thorough gag order got handed down so quickly. It almost seems plausible that someone was orchestrating all this from behind the scenes. Maybe that genius criminal we supposedly got locked up in the basement.
Yeah, sure.
Just because I'm drawing a blank doesn't mean I need to start drawing conclusions based off of some urban legend of female employees invented for the lack of anything better to talk about at lunch. In any case, it seems the country itself is protecting me on this one. No reason to look for a gift horse in the mouth.
For one thing, this means I don't have to give her any new worries.
Apparently Sachi was waiting for me to return. She trotted right up the instant I entered the door. Welcome back, Yugen.
Yeah.
So is everything alright?
You're going to have to be more specific.
In order to help me realize something very important, you did a rather extraordinary and rather unreasonable thing tonight. Was Haruhira-san angry? She really is sharp. It's a sharp one. My face hasn't spontaneously started displaying my thoughts in bold type, has it?
Not to worry. JB was on board with this from the start.
Is that so?
Yeah.
Regardless, there's one thing I'd like you to remember. From this day forth, my trust in you is absolute. No matter how deep your troubles, no matter how unclear the road forward may seem, I'll always believe in you.
What?
So please, try to believe in yourself as well. I can't do much else for you, Yugen. But tonight, you said you believed in my judgment, so my trust has to count for something in your books. In the few hours since we stood above the ruined school, our positions seem to have been completely reversed. The clarity of her feelings and the force of her convictions are enough to make me tremble.
Guess I did say something like that, didn't I?
Yes. Come to think of it, this is probably the reason I was drawn to Sachi in the first place. Trapped in a constant hesitation, unable to find any real meaning in my existence, I wanted someone who could tell me, it's alright. Someone who would look me in the eyes and say, you can be here. Someone who could see past all my lies and half-truth and say, I believe in you, with absolute conviction. Someone like Sachi.
Sachi.
Yes, what is it?
Mind if I hug you?
Before the words are fully out of my mouth, I wrapped my arms around Sachi's waist and pulled her small body close. Well, I didn't have a chance to respond yet, but it seems I'm already being hugged rather firmly.
Sorry, couldn't restrain myself.
That's not fair. I can't manage to object when you put it like that.
Yeah, playing fair isn't my style. But since when were you the sort to get flustered over something like this?
True, I probably wasn't before, but right now, my heart's thumping rather hard, see? Her face bright red, Sachi hugs me back, tightly pressing her chest against me. True enough, her heartbeat seemed to be significantly elevated. Nice to know she wasn't exaggerating for my benefit. At this point, I finally noticed something a little unusual here.
By the way, these clothes.
Yes, they're the same ones I wore on my previous date to the beach. My uniform was rather dirty, so I changed into these. Do they look good on me?
Her voice wavering uncertainly. Sachi looks up into my eyes.
Just seeing her act like this is enough to hit me with a fierce kick of affection.
Yeah, incomprehensibly good. You're fabulous, kid.
Somehow I have the feeling I'm being mocked.
Just your imagination. You look cute, Sachi.
Very well, I suppose I'll have to believe in your words. As I pat Sachi's head, the expression on her face suggests her displeasure isn't quite as sincere as she'd like me to believe. The girl's not exactly hard to understand, but then again, this childish simplicity is a big part of her natural charm. In any case, the discussion of our temporary learning facilities is going to begin soon, but you haven't taken your bath yet, have you?
Yeah, I was planning to go in after you finish, but...
Then we'd better hurry. How about it? Would you like me to come in and help?
Thanks, but I'll pass.
How can you be so heartless, Yukon? Your caring girlfriend is gallantly offering her services.
Because I get the feeling your servicing would go a little beyond washing my hair.
What an extremely impolite remark.
I seem to remember you implying the exact same.
What's that? I can't hear you.
You know no shame.
The dust literally hasn't even settled on this incident, but one thing's already become clear to me. After all the time I spent floating indecisively along, I've found something like a reason to live, and without a doubt this girl is the one who gave it to me. I have Sachi now, and that's enough. I have someone who believes in me and who trusts in my return, who smiles wholeheartedly at my words. No matter what else I have to give up, I want to protect that. She's irreplaceable to me. For her sake, if nothing else, I think I can go on. And that's where we'll end this episode. So we shall see how life in the dormitory without a school goes in the next episode. But until then, take care.